Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and also the likes button. And if you're subscribed, please hit the likes button. And so today I wanted to go back and I've been waiting to do this. One of my goals this year is to come out and tell my truth and to start the new year with my truth. And so, as you know, that this channel is straight talk and cooking with Michelle. So I got to do the straight talk. And I keep saying what my channel was geared towards. And my channel is geared towards what my life was about. And my life was about me growing up and my siblings in foster care. So I did a video back in November of, to be exact, November 2023. When I started my channel, it was in January. And I did several different videos. I just didn't post them because I was like, I don't know if I want to post these videos or not. As I was sharing my stories, and I was like, I don't want to share the story or whatever. But if I'm doing a channel on what is near and dear to my heart, I've got to share my story. And I've got to share my truths. And I've got to, in order to share my truth and to get my stories out there and to help the foster children out there, I've got to share my story. And I'm going to share this video, the original video that I shared. And then I'm going to come back on and I'm going to give some insight and some statistics on the foster care system. I'm going to add to this video that I shared when I first was starting out. Okay. So don't judge me. I was just starting out, didn't know where I was, what I was doing actually. Not that I'm any better now, but I think I've gotten a little better. Don't judge me. But I was just starting out and I was just kind of, I had compassion and for what I was doing and, you know, wanted to get my story out there and wanted to reach the foster care children and the children that were abused and everything. My children would come home. They were working in this facility and they would come home and just, they were sharing these stories and they were just heartbroken over these stories. And, you know, as young adults, they would say, oh, these children are just, you know, they're bad, mom, and they're just disrespectful and they're, you know, this and that. And I would say to them, don't say that because you don't know their stories and how, you know, they were treated. And so until you've walked a mile in their shoes, don't judge them. Because I've been there. I've been in their shoes before. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video. And as the video is playing, I'm going to kind of give some commentary on this video that I've recorded. And I'm going to come back on and kind of give some intakes of my life as a foster child and how I became a foster child. But this is one of the first videos, as I said, back in September 6th of 2023. So I know a lot of the children are misunderstood. I will play it. Let me see. I'm going to start from the beginning. I just don't want to play the intro. We'll start there. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you're returning, please hit the subscribe button. What do you have to lose? You've come back, you've watched my videos, please hit the subscribe button. You won't be disappointed. We do cooking and then it's just touching on everyday life. I originally started this channel to reach our abused children in foster care. being that I am a foster child. I grew up in foster care at 12 years old. And so I just wanted to kind of touch on that because often we look over the children that are in foster care. We might hit, pass by on YouTube. Oh, that's a sad story. I don't want to hear about it. But if we don't bring awareness to the stories and we're not aware out in society that a child might need our help, then what? We need to, do that as human beings, as mothers, as fathers, um, look out for our children. So I know a lot of the children are misunderstood, especially when they're 16 and 17. A lot of, people might just throw them off by the wayside and say, they're just, they're bad kids. They're, they don't want to listen. They're disrespectful. They're this and they're that. And that's not always the case. And sometimes you don't judge a person when you've not walked a mile in their shoes. We need to put ourselves in other people's situations and other people's lives at some point to say, come on, these are kids that have been abused. They've known nothing but abuse and aid. They've seen things that probably some of us would never have seen. It's great if you were brought up in a home where you had a mother and a father and you did, soccer practice and you did, you got cars and all of that for graduation. But that's not always the case. There's always a kid out there that is suffering right now as we speak. And I just want to reach that child. Not saying that they might have YouTube, but if you do, that's who I'm trying to reach. To say, you know what, you can make it out of it. And it might seem impossible at the time that you're going through everything, but just know that you can get through it. As I have. And I have sisters and brothers that have gotten through it. Some of us not so much as the other. Some of us have gone through more tragedies than the other one has gone through. And they might not have come out of it as others have. My mom died when I was 10 years old. I never actually spent a lot of quality time with my mom, but I did get to know my mom. I do have memories of my mom when I was 3. I have memories of her holding me, and I was in a little pink dress in her home, and I have memories of that. It is so unfortunate that I didn't get to spend time with my mom. The time that I did remember spending time with her, it was absolute bliss. Absolute bliss to be able to spend time with my mom. And I wish that I could have spent more time with my mom. But unfortunately, she died of breast cancer when I was 10 years old. And I never would get that time to spend with my mom. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. And I'm going to kind of give some commentary on that. So we grew up with my dad and his side of the family. And we got to visit our mom from time to time. And we stayed with my dad and mainly stayed with his mom, which was our grandma. And we stayed at my grandma's house. And in my grandma's house, we had uncles and aunts, an aunt that stayed there with us. And in that house, the uncles that lived there would abuse us. We had one uncle that lived in an apartment, and would abuse my brother. And we didn't know that one or the other, I think, was being abused. We found that out later. But when we found this out, it was later, we were older. And, it all came out as we were removed from the home. And, we were, abused mentally and physically. And we would eventually be moved from the home. And I see the tragic stories that are going on every day in, that's being told. And I've shared some of the stories on this channel of the children that have either been unalived by their parents, the tragic stories that they weren't taken out of the homes. And some are familiar to me when the caseworkers would go out to the home and the parents would say to the children, or stand there with the children, and the caseworkers would interview the children and they would say, are you okay? They would interview. And I often thought, well, why would you interview us in front of the caseworkers? Why, and I remember being interviewed, just, my grandma and my uncles would be there, and we would be up in one part of the house, just, in hearing distance. And when they would come, it was, we would be interviewed, away. And of course, we're going to say, everything's okay. Because were we going to be removed? No. If we stayed there, what would happen to us when that caseworker left? So I know this might not sit well with some people, but this is my truth, and I'm going to speak my truth this year. And this is what my channel was geared towards, is my truth. And I know that anybody that watches, or anybody in their right mind, and I know the same people or anybody that I've come in contact with would not want their loved ones to be treated as we were. We protect our children. And so I just wanted to add that in as we watch this video. Unfortunately for me and my siblings, it would be total, it wouldn't be a total bliss for me and I'm going to describe it in my own words. It was not a happy life for me. And I'm sure not for my siblings. We would go on to experience a great deal of things. And we would go on to have different lives. The three of us, I have five brothers and sisters, uh, a half brother and half sister by my mom, different dads. Um, but the three of us grew up together, and we were, it was all we knew. And then when we began to get separated, it was like, we had that bond. It was like we took care of each other, and we were going to do things, and we were going to take care of each other because that's all we knew. And growing up and getting out in life and experienced what you have to go through as being abused in a home, and going through as a child, not knowing one day to the next, you do become strong. For some of us, it's, you have to be able to, fight that battle, and make sure that you. So again, where I left off, we would go on at 12. My sister had already left. And she, I want to say, was like our guardian angel. Because when she left, it was that's when everything came in to play. Then we, somewhat got the help that we needed. And even though sometimes that you're removed from the home, as I started to say in this video, you're still going, even though you're removed, you're still going to have long-term issues for the rest of your life. This is going to be a hard video for me. Very hard video, but I want to do it because I want to let anybody that has gone through the abuse and trauma, that has gone through foster care, that has gone through the same situation that I have. No, I'm not the most successful person, but I'm here to tell you that you can make it, that you can get through it. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have bad times. You're going to have triggers. You're going to have tough times, but you can do it. And just to get my story out there. But let's continue to watch. You're not going to another home to where you're being abused. And, I fought that fight. And I'm just going to speak for me. I went to a group home. Um, and I had to call my case manager, and I had to, fight for where, if he did the home study, what he was going to do. Are you doing the home study? I haven't heard from you. I want to get out of here. Make sure you're doing the home study. And that home study didn't work. When I went was placed there, I was blamed only because I was a foster child, and people tend to take when you have issues or problems, they tend to take that and use it against you for what their children do. It doesn't matter if you're coming into their home. They're like, oh, their child is like, oh, open door. Let me blame, the foster child who has had so many issues. And so that's what happened. It was actually the foster kid that I was living with, that was my best friend, that, was introducing me to these things. I wasn't introducing to her. She was introducing to me. But I got blamed for it because, of course, I'm the foster child. And I had I came from this, abusive home, and this is what happened, you know, and it tends to follow you in life. You'll meet, you know, you'll have, marriages and relationships and partners, and you tell them, the minute you tell them about, where you've come, your lifestyle, because of course you want to share everything with them, and they tend to take that and use it against you. It's like it's a slap in the face. With me, I didn't trust no one. I I had a wall up. And to go on to say, we were, put into the situations that we were put into. And I'll say it later on in this video, I found a wonderful foster grandmother that I lived with until I was 18. And it was my choice for me to move. She didn't kick me out at 18, treated me as I was her own. There was a lot of foster parents that would put their children, when they would go on vacation, into different homes, because that's what they were told to do. So they would have family time with their own families. And so when they would say, to get a break from the foster children, you put put the foster children into a group home or into another home so that you could spend time with your family. And my grandmother said, no, these are like my children, and I'm going to take these kids with me. So I got to go to Disneyland, California. I went on vacations that I probably would never experience. Wonderful lady. And I was blessed. But I look at some of the homes that some of these people are in. I mean, it's not people, but these children are in and placed in. And these, I did a story on the children that were the little girl is Arabella, that was unalived by her adoptive mother, that took her in. And that's just, it's sad, that these children go from one abusive home into another abusive home. And, just my story, I wanted to kind of share that with you guys, because when I'm looking at the clicks and views that I'm getting on these stories, and it's like they're not being seen and they're not being heard, it saddens me, because it's like, should I tell you my age or not? I'm 53, and 53 years ago that happened. to me, and it's still happening to this day. And, you know, my brother, it has affected him, you know, so much more. And, you know, I just want, and I just know, I know that, and I'm not even gonna say that here. I'll let my video say it because I said it then. So I'll let my video say that. I'll stop blabbing. But I wanted to come on and just kind of go back and forth. Where I didn't trust anybody, I just kept everything inside. And, you know, I only trust a certain handful, and to this day, a certain handful of people. It's hard for me to open up. But when I do open up and you take my trust that I opened up to you and you misuse it, that's it. And to this day, I'm still judged because I am a strong woman. You know, I have raised my 3 girls on my own, have been the mother and the father, and I've had to protect them as well as me. You know, why not protect me? I'm just as important as anybody else. And I think that, you know, when you grow up in a foster home, or you know, in that type of environment, people will take that and use it and they will judge you. And I have been judged throughout my life only because I've trusted the wrong people with my precious information, and they tend to take that and use it. And so I say to the foster kids out there, if, you know, life goes on, and you will, with God's help, because God has been there every step of the way in my life. Every step of the way, He's been there. So I credit everything to God. I have a brother that will have a great testimony because he's been through so much. And he's not a lost cause. For everybody thinks that, you know, foster kids are a lost cause. He's not a lost cause. He's God's child, and He will prevail over everything. He went through a lot because of the situation that he was brought into. Nobody asked to be born into a family. God puts you where He wants you to be placed, and that's not for us to question. But my brother and no one else in foster care is a lost cause. And when I hear, you know, people say, oh, you know, he's this, he's that, or whatever, you know, did you go through what he went through? No, you didn't. So don't, until you walk a mile in his shoes, or anybody else's shoes for that matter, in anybody else's shoes, don't talk to me about a lost cause, because he's still God's child, as every foster care child is a child of God. And I'm not meaning to get upset or whatever, but it just frustrates me that people tend to just, oh, you know, he's, you know, they're, you know, oh, he's never going to be helped. He's never going to do that. Well, you know, it's not for you to judge. Since I've been here in San Diego, I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And since I've been here in San Diego, I see a lot of foster kids. My two daughters are in. They work at a facility where kids come in every day from being abused, and they're taken away. That's a first point of contact, and they work at those facilities, and it's sad. And when they come home and say, "Oh, they're bad," they're just, it's like, don't say that. You can't say that, because as old as I am, I still have PTSD. There's certain things that will trigger me. There's certain things that trigger me now. And you have to have when you get into a relationship, you have to have a genuine person that will honestly take what you've been through when you do share it with them and be there for you. You have to, and that's going to be a godly person. It's going to be a godly person, a person that, God sends into your life that's going to be your life partner. And when you go through these triggers, or you have issues, or you share your deep, most inner feelings with them, that they're not going to take it and use it against you. They're, even when they get mad, even if you get mad and you say the most awful things, if you have a person that takes that information that you've instilled in them, that you've entrusted to them, and they take it and they throw it in your face, that's not the person for you. That's not who God wants you to be with. Because a person that truly loves you, they're going to put you first. They're going to understand what you've gone through, especially when you've told them what you've been through. They're going to, take it and, that's not the person for you. Even if you get mad and you say the most awful things, if you have a person that takes that information that you've instilled in them, that you've entrusted to them, and they take it and they throw it in your face, that's not the person for you. That's not who God wants you to be with. Because a person that truly loves you, they're going to put you first. They're going to understand what you've gone through, especially when you've told them what you've been through. They're going to, take it and, they're not going to use it against you. And I know that, we, coming out of what we've been through and coming in to life, you tend to pick some of the wrong relationships. You pick a relationship, and because this person says, "I love you," and this and that, you've gone through those things. And I've gone through some horrible relationships. I've gone through it, and I thought that they loved me, and the because I came from abuse to come into somebody that showed me more than what I experienced in life. And I'm here to tell you, don't accept less, because you are worth more. You're worth more than what society tells you you are. You pick that person, and you pray about it, and you ask God to bring that person into your life that's going to be there for you. And yeah, you're going to have bumps in the roads. Yeah, you're not going to be perfect. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. So if you have to reach out to this channel, and if you're going through something, please, I'm here. I okay. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. I wanted to kind of share my story with you. Um, I pulled up, some statistics about how many children that are abused make it. And in the United States, 1 in 6 male adults are reported being physically or essayed at the age of 18 or in prison. That's 56%. And the female, is at 46%. And so I say that, to say this. The ones that abuse go on to live their lives as if nothing is wrong. When I understand, I guess I should say, let me start off by saying that, and let me go back. Let me go back. I know that they probably had dysfunction. The reason they caused dysfunction to us. I know that it started somewhere in their line. And I believe I've said this on another video of mine. But we've got to stop the dysfunction, and we've got to accept responsibility somewhere. And so we can't go on and say and throw stones or cast people out, because we've got to realize the reason people are the way they are is because of dysfunction that was put upon them. One would have never known the dysfunction unless it was caused by one. And so when someone's born into this world, they're born into this world, a life of happiness, a life of bliss, a life of joy. They don't know pain and torture unless it's caused, it's afflicted, unless it is taught to them, unless it's done upon them. They wouldn't know that. So I always say this: unless you've walked a mile in someone's shoes, unless you have suffered their pain, you can't judge them and tell them how to feel or when to stop feeling or when to heal. You just can't. I will take my pain as I have, and I've healed. I've healed. God has allowed me to heal. He has allowed me to grow. He has allowed me, and he has blessed me, I should say. And he's going to continue to allow my brother to be blessed. He is going to allow my brother to continue to heal and grow. And for my siblings, he's going to allow them to be blessed and to grow. And I pray for all the abused children out there. I pray for the children that are being essayed and AR'd and abused. I pray for their peace, and I pray that they will get out of the situations. And I hope that this story has helped someone. And I pray that whoever clicks on this video, that you will watch it until the end. I pray that you will subscribe to this channel, that you will support this channel and not pass these videos by. And I thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this is my story. Thank you.